IPO alerts! IPO alerts! Welcome everyone. We got another IPO in the house. And which IPO am I talking about? Tell me in the comments quickly. I know you know. Let me see who has the quickest fingers around. Let me know. That's right. It is Regency Petroleum. I know you're here for the scoop. So in a moment, we're going to take a look at the details. But first, let me shout out some of you who are watching early. I love when I come on and you guys are already waiting because you know what time it is, right? When we're ready to talk IPO, you guys are ready with your questions. So let me just shout out a few of you who were ready, starting with Jason, who said ready and waiting. Money up for 2023. He was the first comment from 6:49 p.m. So he was on well over an hour before we even started. Soul Healing says, Jack Carl from Stav Lamar, Westmoreland, I will be a part of this new gas station. And Jack Carl, you know what's going on because Regency is actually based in Stav Lamar. So you can tell us in the comments what you think about their service. Adrian says, I'm definitely buying into this brand. Adrian's joining us all the way from St. Mary today. Robert is there in New Jersey. He says, a big shout out to all the money makers. And Demar says, start like up the video, people. That's right. I see 92 of you on already. Hit the like button so that YouTube can show this video to more people and more people can be aware of this opportunity that is opening on Thursday. So I know you're here for the scoop. Let's take a look at the details.
Petroleum distribution company Regency Petroleum is seeking to raise $287 million through an initial public offer. If the offer is successful, RPL will apply to be listed on the junior market of the Jamaica Stock Exchange. The company is offering just over 287 million shares for sale. 115 million of those are available to the public. The remaining 172 million are reserved for company applicants and key partners. All shares are going for $1 each, and the smallest quantity you can buy is 1,000. After the initial purchase of 1,000 shares, you'll have to buy them in increments of 100. That means you can participate in this offer for as little as 1,000 Jamaican dollars plus fees. That's less than $7 US. The offer is set to open on Thursday, November 24, 2022, and is scheduled to close on December 8, 2022, but it could close early. GK Capital Management is the lead broker for the deal, and JMMB and VM Wealth.
All right. I don't know what happened to the audio there in the end. Is it my audio that went? Producer, let me know in the chat if you guys are hearing me, or those of you who are on, let me know if you're hearing me or if my audio went just now. I'm not sure what quite happened at the end of that feature just now. So let me check my messages here. It says I'm good. All right, I hope I can hear our guests because we need to introduce them. This is a very exciting and momentous occasion. As you heard there just now, Regency Petroleum is seeking to raise 287 million Jamaican dollars in its upcoming IPO. The cost is $1 per share, and that offer opens this Thursday. Those of you in the United States, that's Thanksgiving Day, and it's scheduled to close December 8th. But like I always tell you, offers can close early, especially when they're small junior market offers. The applications will be accepted through GK Capital Management. Yes, let's get right into it. So joining me now, we have CEO of Regency Petroleum Limited, Andrew Williams, and also VP of Investment Banking at GK Capital Management, Douglas Robinson. Welcome, Andrew. Welcome back, Douglas.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, Camila. Great to be here again.
Yes, so great to have you on. So first, let me congratulate Andrew on this IPO. This is certainly a momentous occasion for you and your business.
Definitely. And thanks for having us.
And for Douglas, welcome back. Like we said, so GK Capital is on a roll this year. I feel like all the IPOs coming through GK. Congratulations.
Well, we're really trying. You know, it's important to us that we help small and medium-sized businesses to really achieve their growth. And the junior market is a great conduit for that.
Absolutely. So Andrew, tell us a little bit about yourself and the experience that you have in this industry.
Okay. Well, we started out in 2009 as a distributor or a dealer for existing or established marketing company. And we moved on to another marketing company. Then we then started our own marketing company. In starting out, we started as a dealer, a distributor, distributing the household products, that's the 25 pounds, the 100 pound, the 30 pound cylinders. And we wanted to grow our distribution network. So we started as a distributor distributing cylinders, and we wanted to move up where we saw as the pinnacle in the industry as a filling station. Now, we made our proposal to our marketing company that we were aligned to in 2012, 2013, applying for a filling station, which none was available at the time for that marketing company. But from a business point of view, we had no issues with the marketing company. But from a business point of view, and for me personally, I wanted to grow this business to the highest level. At the time, we saw it as a filling station. So we approached a competitor who welcomed us on board, say, yes, we can invest in a filling station for ourselves, and they will market, they will sell us the product, bulk petroleum. Now,
this is cooking gas. So when he
cooking
said
gas, right. So we primarily started as a cooking gas company. Right. I'll refer to it as we go on in the program as LPG. So LPG or cooking gas, it's the same thing. Now, we in seeking properties now to develop a filling station for the other marketing company that we approached. We had a company, Central Supplies, or Central Gases. We wanted to. We used to do a lot of marketing, and I said to myself, boys, we doing a lot of marketing for other marketing companies. I'm thinking now on a higher level to say, boy, we could do this. We could spend all this money and do all this marketing for our own company. So I went ahead and we researched with the ministry, how can we actually develop our own marketing company? And we got all the requirements that were needed, and we went ahead and did our applications. And we ended up we acquired our marketing license. So we started out with Regency Petroleum, and we had a marketing license. We had our filling station, that's the one in Crawford, St. Elizabeth, and we started to market our product. Now I personally have a passion for the business, so it was quite challenging in the first instance for us to go out. I mean, we had a lot of challenges, a lot of discouraging times. It's a capital intensive company. However, I must say that from the very first day Regency was registered or incorporated, it was always our intention to list on the stock exchange, whether junior or main market.
That much is clear, because for you to list in 3 years, it
right.
was very intentional. But tell me about some of those challenges that you had.
Okay, all right. We primarily started out as in LPG cooking gas. Now, the challenge we had would have been with our cylinders. Now, cylinders are capital intensive. They are quite costly. And we have to purchase these cylinders and basically give them away in the first instance. We in Jamaica, we are used to the traditional and established cooking gas companies. And to have a new company, a Jamaican-owned company, enter the market, I mean, we're going to take some time for us to develop confidence in the final consumer. So in saying that, being a new company, we had to issue. So we're going to invest in these cylinders. That's quite costly. And we had to issue them free of charge in the first place. Now, what you'll find is that issuing them, we have a database, yes, but the control systems that we have in place, we have to have strict control systems, but even so, it was quite challenging just to control these cylinders because we're giving them away. You follow what I mean? So if you
normally your competitors charge when you buy the
charge a user fee, right? Because they are already established in the country. I mean, I would say these companies, we have very few LPG companies in Jamaica that distribute household cylinders. Household cylinders meaning the 25, 30, 100 pound cylinders. Now, you're talking about probably a 15-year-old, a 20-year-old, probably about 25-year-old. Only they're only used to the established companies. The three companies that were established at the time. Now, for us, we have to give them away. The established companies now can charge a user fee, because that's why you're talking about a volatile product as cooking gas. Now, I mean, the average consumer is going to question, you're going to have questions about, I wonder if this thing going to explode on me, or if its quality is good, or
But you get gas from Petrojam, right?
Exactly. So about
do the competitors also get the gas from Petrojam?
No, the competitors now they purchase some from Petrojam and they also import overseas.
So some of it is the same product.
Exactly. So that is, I'm going to get to that now. So that is why we are referred to as a marketing company. We're not a blender. We're not a manufacturer. We're marketing companies. We're basically selling the same product. We leave the blending and the manufacturing up to the supplier, which we, in our case would have been Petrojam. And we have no reservations with Petrojam. I mean, over the years, even long before Regency, Petrojam has proven itself to be with the integrity of the product, has proven itself. The quality, there has not any questions. I'm not aware of any questions about the quality or the integrity of the product. So, and we are a Jamaican company. We are very, I'm a very patriotic person, and I tend to lean towards growing our local industries, our local companies. We have a loyalty agreement with Petrojam, so we are 100% loyal with Petrojam. We even have it in our marketing. We market as a 100% supplier for Petrojam products only currently. So because we have no issues, we have no reservations, we have proven themselves. There are so much, the systems in place is so well advanced. I mean, it's next to first world technology when it comes down to order and delivery services, all that. I mean, we're next to the first world. I'm telling you. And it has caused us
when you started now, 2019, you finally got through with everything. You have your cylinders. You have to give away these cylinders. How easy or difficult was it for you to actually break in the market and get people buying from Regency?
Okay, we have been known even prior to Regency, with central gases that we had. We have been known to be a company that caters primarily to the masses. Now, meaning we have been very price competitive, even when we used to supply for other marketing companies before Regency. We are known, we have established ourselves as a price leader in our region. Now, so for Regency, so moving to Regency, it wasn't so challenging really in terms of we pricing. We use a pricing strategy for one, because we're coming from the grassroots. Now we're supplying from the basic. We're supplying from being a dealer to a distributor to a filling station. Now we know what the final consumer wants and demands coming from that stage, from that level. So we actually try to satisfy that demand. We satisfy that demand, and it's very simple, it's very simple. We are a third world country. However, we are made up primarily of the masses, and we are very price sensitive. Most economies are price sensitive, but we are very price sensitive in Jamaica. And we can offer, as I said, we are a marketing company. We are selling all the same products. All the marketing companies selling the same product. We are able to be price competitive. We are able to give you a cylinder that is properly filled, which those two, based on our experiences, are the two major factors. I mean, I'm sure the average household person now, or individual now, can agree to that. I mean, you're buying a 25 pound, which is the most popular cooking gas, and you want to make sure it's clean, because you thought these 25 pounds usually are placed inside someone's home. and you don't want to have a cylinder in there that's dirty or greasy. So I mean, it seems very, very small a factor, but it's very critical a factor. And we acknowledge that. So we ensure these simple things are done. So we get a clean cylinder, you get a cylinder that is priced most competitively. We ensure that. And we ensure that by operating our filling stations ourselves. So there are no filling stations by region, or filling station by Regency that are franchised out to an operator per se. We will have distributors and dealers, but we ensure, because the cylinders are owned by Regency. So we have to ensure the quality product that we are sending out there to the final consumer in many regards. In the regards of cleanliness, in the regards of integrity, and regarding the price, and the quality product that's being sent out there. As I said, we are a Jamaican company. We are very patriotic towards our Jamaicans. We want to ensure they're getting good value for money, and at the end of the day, we welcome other companies to come on board. We welcome others because at the end of the day, the final consumer who is with the benefit. I mean,
so where all do you service right now for the cooking gas segment? Because we're going to come to the petrol segment soon.
We're in the western region currently, where we service Westmoreland, Hanover, parts of St. James, parts of St. Elizabeth. And we actually have I think about 3 locations between Portmore and Kingston 6 area. Yeah, but we want to expand now, as you can see by the prospectus. We want to plant our stake in Kingston now with the household. I must say the LPG cooking gas is broken down in 2 categories. You have a bulk petroleum that we supply island wide now. Bulk petroleum meaning hotels, restaurants, bakeries. Those heavy users, those bulk users, we have the capacity to supply the island with that. And we do so now. So we supply bulk. It doesn't require the small cylinders. Usually the bulk customers would carry their own packaging, their own cylinders, or we can supply them the cylinders. There's a stationary cylinders. Those don't move around. Those are stationary cylinders. So we supply that island-wide now. And we want to plant our stake in the corporate area now for the household. So I hope you follow me. So the household will be the 25 pound, the 30 pound, the 100 pound cylinders.
But you have a lot of competition in this area, in the corporate area. So maybe the western part of the island might have been a bit underserved. But over here, I mean, there's the competition. You hear the jingles on the radio all the time for your competitors.
No, I can tell you, surprisingly, and this is a fact, the prices for petroleum, for LPG, for cooking gas cylinders, the household cylinders in the western parts of the island, I can tell you as a fact, they are probably the lowest cost products in the island right now. And this is probably primarily because of our presence and other newcomers in the industry presence in this region. Most of the newcomers in the industry now, they are based on the western side of the island, and I think going towards the north coast also. So, but you will find as a fact that in the western region, what you will pay for cooking gas, household cooking gas cylinders down this side is, I'm tempted to say significantly less than what you pay for it in Kingston.
Bringing those lower prices here, because when you do come to Kingston, you're going to have different overheads. Rental space and property is a lot more expensive in Kingston than it is where you are now.
Perfectly understood. However, if you revisit our financials and our prospectus, and if you look closely at the breakdown for LPG as opposed to land meaning automotive sales, gasoline, 90, 87, or low sulfur, if you look on those margins carefully, or anyone who is interested can look at those margins carefully, you'll see the margin difference on the LPG as opposed to the land fuel, the automotive fuel. Now, overheads, I agree with you. Coming into Kingston, the overheads will be a little, will be more, I wouldn't say more significant, because based on the nature of this business, I'm going to, I hope I have enough time to enlighten you a bit. The nature of the business is so much so of cylinders primarily. The capital expenditure, as I said before, is on cylinders. Now, there's no need to do capital expenditure on a filling station, for argument's sake, primarily. You can do a capital expenditure on distribution outlets, which is what we plan to do. It requires less regulations, less requirements, and so in other words, less overheads to have a distribution network in the corporate area. Now, in saying that, we can reduce our overheads if having a location in the corporate area without having a filling station. That will reduce our overhead significantly and make us a lot more competitive than the existing competition in Kingston. That's one. Now, as I said before, I have to emphasize on the margins. Now, if you revisit, the margins are quite huge on LPG. I mean, it's no secret, you know. You have less players in the LPG. You have 5 or probably 6 players in the LPG market, as opposed to probably 15 or 20 players on the other side, which is the automotive fuel, you know. And the simple reason for this, as I said, capital expenditure. So with 5 or 6 players in the market, you know, competition is always good. It causes you to be more efficient in your operations and more effective. I'm not saying the competition not being efficient or effective in your operations. However, with competition, it incentivizes you to be more efficient in your operation. And I'm sure, based on our passion or my passion for the business and our strategic operation, the strategies we have in place, I'm sure that we will be far more competitive in the corporate era.
Okay.
Than what we're experiencing.
Well,
now.
we're looking forward to that.
We're actually doing it already. We're doing it already because we're actually existing there now. We just don't have the capacity with cylinders to supply, but we're actually doing it now. We're in the Kingston 6 area. We're in Portmore, and we are quite competitive there now. You know,
well,
we have cars every day.
So let me take some of the questions. A lot of questions are starting to come in. Clinton wants to know, well, what is your price for a 25-pound cylinder?
All right, I can tell you, we as a marketing company, we do wholesaling, but we try to ensure the price range for a 25-pound cylinder in Westmoreland now ranges from $2,800 to $3,200. And we try to ensure that with our dealers by offering them a competitive price for them to make a certain margin to be able to sell it at the 2,800 or the 3,200. In Westmoreland, we actually in Kingston, our dealers, we ensure to our dealers in Kingston 6, Mona Heights, Hope Pastures, College Green area, the Kingston 6 area by Mona. We ensure a price of $3,000 per 25-pound currently, and I'm sure that's
I don't even know how good. I
don't know how good.
Hear it what the competitors charge. I can't remember the last time.
Okay. But I'm told that it ranges from probably $3,500, $4,000, probably in some cases $4,500 in Kingston.
How much for a 25-pound?
For a 25-pound. You know, I mean,
significantly less.
Significantly less.
All right, next question comes from Philip. I think he did answer this one. He wanted to know, isn't distribution to the east going to be expensive without a filling station nearby? Planning to build or lease another one? So he did explain, how that's going to work. Levar wants to know, can you share the mixture of gas that Regency sells, propane or butane? Also, are you looking to go into medical, oxygen, welding gases, helium, etc.?
No, all right. Let me answer the propane and the butane. All right. Propane, it's a higher pressure. It's a pressurized gas. It's at a higher pressure. Now, propane is used in the bulk petroleum for hotels, restaurants, and bakeries. I don't know if you know, but the hotel, the industrial equipment, they require a higher pressurized gas, which is the propane. Now, for the household, the propane. Let me just finish with the propane. The propane basically it burns at a higher heat. It's a higher temperature, but it burns out quicker. Now, for the butane, it burns at a lower temperature. Meaning, if you put a pot of water to boil on the stove, using the propane, it will boil in probably 5 minutes, as opposed to the propane 8 minutes. For argument's sake, just to make it clear for you. For the butane, though, the butane with the household cylinders, it's recommended to use butane. Some companies mix the propane and the butane together. Now we use primarily butane. It lasts a longer. You give you a longer service because it's a lower pressurized gas. It might take a little longer time for you to I mean, you won't notice the difference in terms of, for argument's sake, using to cook or to boil water, whatever. It's not that noticeable for a household. So we use butane. It lasts longer in the cylinder. You get a longer service from it. It's a little more costly though. However, it's not that significantly higher than the propane. So we actually provide. It is my assumption, and it's an assumption, and my opinion, that the reason why other companies would mix the propane and the butane would be more for a cost-effective purpose. It's not so much for usage. It's more from a cost-effective point of view because the propane is a cheaper gas. So you mix both, and this is my opinion, so you can supply a more cost-effective and more competitive. However, with Regency's overheads, I don't want to let out too much of our secrets, but with our overheads and our strategies that we have in place, we have proven ourselves to be very competitive in price. As I said, I don't want to let out too much secrets, but we try to control our management team,
Right.
our strategies we put in place. Right. We actually try to we emphasize a lot. I grew up in a family business that my dad always teach us, boy, the more you can save or the more you can save is the more you earn. So the more efficient you are in your operations, the more you can cut your costs and still be effective.
So that's the cooking gas portion of the business. Yeah. 2020 now, you jumped into petrol. So right. Servicing vehicles, 8790, the next one here, diesel and all that good stuff. And
right.
So why did you decide to jump into that segment?
Okay, the first thing that I'm going to tell you, we had our supplier contract with Petrojam in 2019. Our supplier contract was for LPG and automotive fuels. Our primary focus being experienced in the LPG, we focus primarily on LPG. Now, it came to our attention from Petrojam that we have a license that we can supply automotive fuels, and why we don't take advantage of that. Now, the pandemic came on in 2019. 2019, the beginning of 2020, the pandemic came in. But prior to the pandemic, after thinking about what Petrojam had put to us, we said, all right, we're going to start out because it's going to require a petrol station now for us to sell. We can sell bulk, however, we can sell bulk petroleum to like contractors, that's building contractors, heavy equipment, bulk users, which are heavy equipment users, any persons that are in any organizations that use bulk petroleum. We can supply them bulk, but to do it on a retail basis, we'd have to do a service station, which is going to take quite some time to put the infrastructure and whatever in place. No, so what we did, what I was doing some thinking, and what we did is we said, all right, we're going to supply these heavy equipment based on our region. You have a lot of development going on at the time. Hotels being constructed, housing developments going on. So you find that you have a lot of tractors being used. We have our cane farming area. We have heavy equipment units. We have trucks, trailers, all that we can supply on a bulk basis. Now, these heavy equipment users are heavy equipment. We cannot drive them to the service station. You cannot drive a backhoe or an excavator or any form of equipment to a service station. So what I had realized that all of these owners had to service these equipment on the site. So having experience with the LPG being an exchange with cylinders and having cylinders carrying to customers and so forth, I came up with an idea of having bulk diesel fuel being filled in some 55-gallon drums, containers, where we could offer a service of delivery, just like cylinders, to these service station because they are bulk users. They use high volumes. So those high volumes would make up for those low margins. So we came up with that. We pioneered that, basically. So where you could call, because they already have those 55-gallon drums that they use servicing their equipment. And I said, we're not talking about a small thing now. We're talking about huge hotels being constructed. We're talking about housing developments with a few hundred or probably thousands of houses. And you have all these equipment on the site. So we approached them and they said they were excited about the idea. And we actually started, and it actually started to take off where we couldn't even get enough drums to refill, to supply. So we had that exchange thing. You just call in, or you send an email in, or you make a phone call to the office, and we deliver to you. So we offer that service of delivery. And the beauty about it is that we also offer a very good price. So in some cases, we're more competitive because what they had to do, what these persons had to do is drive to the service station with these containers, fill them, and carry it themselves to the site to refill these heavy equipment units. Now,
how did that fare with the pandemic though? Because that was a tough year for your industry.
That's what I'm saying to you. So
people were working from home, and then a lot of that hotel, a lot of those construction projects stalled.
I'm about to reach that now. So that we started this probably in January, February of 2020. The pandemic came in and wiped that out completely. So everything everything halted. Everything halted. There were no trucks hauling anymore. There were no heavy equipment, every usage. All the construction work had stopped. So we had put certain infrastructure in place for this. So I had to go back to the drawing board now, and we had to say, boy, we have certain infrastructure in place already. So let's just take advantage of this 90 fuel, and because 90 is the most popular of all the fuels to be sold. And we just start distributing some 90. We got our retailers license, we got all our permits and our license that we needed, and we started to distribute the 90 fuel. And I mean, it's history from there, because what happened is we were so competitive. We're a marketing company and we are selling directly to the consumer. What is known in the industry is that marketing companies would usually employ employ operators or take on operators for these service stations. So there's like a two-stage markup on the fuel. We were now taking it as a marketing company, putting it straight to the consumer, the final consumer. So we could be again price competitive in our region, in our area. We're quite and you know right away. Our market is made up of the masses, who taxi drivers primarily, who always looking for the best deal, the best price, and we were able to offer that to them, and it just basically took off from there. And I can tell you, if you look at our financials, quarter over quarter, we have been just growing steadily. We have grown significantly. So for 2020, I'm going to explain. I know you're going to have this question. I hope I'm not jumping it, but for 2020 July, that's when we started distributing automotive fuel, primarily 90 octane gasoline. Now, so for July to September, which will be the last 5 months of 2020, that's what caused that significant jump in revenue. Now, if you notice, for 2019, we had like a 40-something million revenue. That was primary LPG. We had our challenges that year, where we had our cylinders being lost, being stolen, all our capital expenditure. The margins is what actually helped us on the LPG for 2014 to keep surviving. Now for 2020, when we started our retailing for July, what you're seeing, that jump from 44 to 190 something or 100 and something million in revenue for 2020 was made up of those sales additional to the LPG for between July and December. Now, remember, we are new now on the automotive side, So we are new in July. So it takes some time to develop, but fortunately for us, we had a competitive price, word of mouth. Don't discount that. It's a huge marketing tool. Now, so we had the taxes coming in. I mean, gradually. So if you notice, quarter over quarter, from September quarter in 2020, then December quarter in 2020, you see a significant growth over that period. And then now for 2021, you would have a full year of survival in the LPG and growth in the automotive fuel. So we have been surviving, establishing our company under the LPG, developing confidence in the consumers, which would show steady growth in the LPG, compounded now with the steady or significant growth in the automotive fuel for 2021. That is what would have skyrocketed our revenue from the 190 to the 600 for 2021. And if you look at 2022, it's a steady growth moving forward. So we still have not basically optimized our full potential. And I hope I'm not going too far before you lead me to where you probably want me to go. But I can just tell you, we have steady growth. We have, as our prospectus say, we have 2 service stations on the way. Currently, Kalila, we only supply 90. We took on automotive diesel fuel, which is an ADO, diesel oil, automotive diesel oil, in January 2022. In January 2022, we took on automotive diesel fuel to add to our revenues. And so we have 2 products since January 2022, which would also account for that increased revenue over the first 6 months of this year, which you'll see in the financials also. There's a review there. Now, as I said, we are steadily growing now. However, I'm going to conservatively say that moving forward, after we open the other 2 service stations in January,
that's going to be Negril and Paradise and West
right. Right. And these 2 service stations, Kalila, will be 2 full service stations. Full service stations meaning that we will be having 87 octane, 90 octane, ADO, automotive diesel, and ultra low sulfur, ULSD. So we'll have these 4 products available. We'll have a convenience store, and which we haven't even accounted for. I think I'm not sure if the projections were shown. I don't think projections were shown, but we haven't accounted even for the additional revenue from the convenience store as yet. So I can say to shareholders that whoever, as I've been telling persons since recently, we are, as my chairman said recently, man, we are in a fetus stage now. We haven't even born properly as yet. We're in a fetus stage now. So you can just imagine that when we are born to walk, furthermore to run. I'm thinking that at the running stage we'll be cover Jamaica and be Caribbean and elsewhere.
Well, you mentioned projections. Let me ask. This is a great opportunity to bring Douglas in. Douglas, do you have the projections for 2022, 23?
Well, let's hear what I'll say. Let's wait and see what happens. As Andrew is saying here, Regency really has a bright future, right? You can see what they've done over the last 3 years with simply the LPG business and 1 station, 1 location. So you can just imagine what this business will look like over the next few years, when actually even over the next year, when the additional 2 stations are put in place, are completed, are launched, and really, add just to the bottom line of this business.
All right, let me take some more questions from the audience because there are many, starting with Teron, who wants to know, do you anticipate that the continuous war in Ukraine will boost the share price as it did to Fesco?
Well, what I know for a fact is that our share price will be boosted. I'm not sure if it will be in relation to Ukraine, but I'm sure it will be in relation to our opening up of our 2 service stations and the additional revenue that will be seen from these service stations being in operation. Especially, you should be able to start seeing these revenue increase by the first quarter of next year, by March. But for the Ukraine war, to answer your question, I'm not sure if it will be boosted with any in regards to that, but I'm sure it definitely will be boosted for the next quarter to come.
Okay. Elaine says, why not take the 500 million to build out the company? And so this is not only for you, Andrew, but I think Douglas can also answer this one. Why the amount of money that you're seeking? How much is it again? Two
It's
something?
around 290 million. It's 287
90,
million
yes.
dollars.
So the shareholders, especially small shareholders, always want the IPOs to come bigger so they have a better chance of getting in. So why 293 and not 500, which would be the maximum allowed under the junior market?
That is correct. And what I'd say is that Andrew, the team at Regency, they're really very prudent in terms of how they manage a business. And that's why you can see it in their numbers. Look at what they've done in the last 3 years. They currently have net margins of around 13%, which is pretty much unheard of in this industry. And so, they are actively looking to how did you put it, Andrew? The more you save, the more you earn.
Exactly.
So even
Yeah.
right. So
Overheads.
they're even applying that concept to this IPO and to looking and saying seriously, what is it that I really need that will give me the most efficient growth strategy and path to growth? And so after doing a long amount of soul searching, we came up with this dollar figure. And the truth is, it's clear that this business is going to continue to grow. It's going to continue to have those aspirations. And that may mean potentially future capital raises or future need for cash and growth capital in the future. Does that mean other potential transactions, whether it be, I remember the last time I came here, one of the questions was, hey, when are you going to do an APO, or when are you going to do a rights issue? So, that's the sort of thing we look at here, and we say, you know what, one step at a time, we need to walk before we crawl. And right now crawl before we walk. And right now we're crawling, but very soon, I'm sure you'll see in the numbers that Andrew and the team will be walking and even running towards further growth in revenues and profits.
All right. Next question comes from Levar. And Levar says, I've worked in the LPG space for over 2 years. Can you tell me the advantage of buying Regency cooking gas? What makes your gas different from the other sellers?
Well, as I said previously, let me reiterate, 2 major factors. Pricing, we offer a guaranteed, we offer guaranteed competitive, one of the most competitive price on our product. And we're in the industry for 2 years now, and you know the importance of having a clean product. It's simple as that: a clean product and a good price. We're offering you, and let me state one more thing. Is it Levon?
Yes.
Levon, right? Now, I was in the business from growth stage, from a dealer stage, and one thing that I wasn't quite happy with is the fact that the price changes weekly. So you have a price change weekly on the petroleum product. Now, what Regency has guaranteed and what Regency has pioneered, I can tell you, is trying to maintain a consistent price over a longer period of time. So for argument's sake, we try not to change our prices every week. What I have noticed over the years, that's like over the last, say, 15, 20 years probably, petroleum prices on LPG products, propane and butane, as opposed to land fuels, as opposed to automotive fuels, 90 and 87. When the changes take place on a Thursday or on a Wednesday evening, if you notice carefully, or you can do your research by going on the Petrojam's website, the price on LPG products, propane and butane, does not change significantly, up or down. It's usually a marginal, a minimal change in price, as opposed to 90, 87 low sulfur diesel, ADO, kerosene, whatever else. Now, with that in mind, we have acknowledged that, and we have tried to maintain a consistent price on a longer term basis. So for argument's sake, it doesn't change every week. It probably changes every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks, probably even go up on
And
sometimes.
though Petrojam changes their prices basically
Every week, we don't change because, as I said, for petroleum, for the LPG, it doesn't change that significant.
Follow-up question coming from Stacey Ann, who wants to know, how will consumers know your cylinders are filled more than others?
Well, the proof is in the pudding, you know. We had those challenges at first, but when you purchase the product, if you used to buy LPG before and you have something to compare it with, I leave it up to you to determine. To be honest with you, we, based on our testimonials and persons doing, I mean, this is a fact. Persons actually, if we are short on cylinders, I mean, we cannot cover the entire island, we cannot cover the entire region or saturate it as yet. They will go to a point where they actually leave the cylinders at the dealers until they are refilled. They rather go in and buy coal, for argument's sake, and use it for the one night if they're going to wait on it for overnight just to get back a Regency cylinder. Simply because they get a longer service from a Regency cylinder. For 2 reasons. We ensure they are filled properly. I'm not saying the competition doesn't do that, you know, but we fill our cylinders ourselves as the marketing company. We do that, and we do not mix the product with a propane, which would cause the cylinder to basically burn a little bit quicker, to finish more quickly. So we do not mix it with propane. We just supply pure butane in our cylinders.
So Douglas, you mentioned earlier that this is a company that has quite a bit of expansion ahead of it. And on that note, Elaine is asking the question, says, looking at the books, the company will need future funding to build out. Where do you see that funding coming from? More loans, APOs, RI, or from revenues?
You know, oh, sorry, no, Andrew, you go ahead.
No, what I would say, I'm going to go back to the 2 service stations. That growth, we expect the company to grow by many ways. Firstly, we want to see those revenues and profits increase over the next, say, 2 quarters. Then from that revenue increase, it would automatically lead to a profit increase. Now we are going to reinvest into the business, which we have been doing over the past 3 years. We're going to reinvest. And if that is not, because we also want to pay good dividend. We also want our shareholders to be very happy. So I'm going to ensure that we pay our good dividend. Although we're in a growth stage, we will still pay dividend. So we will pay our dividend. We anticipate huge increase in revenue and profits, which will be reinvested into the company. And also, if we need additional funding now, then we can look at, I would say, probably coming back with an APO, because it's a small issue now. So there's room for an APO in the near future, I would say. If Doug can probably correct me on that, but I would say we want to ensure that these revenues increase. First of all, we have a lot on our plate now in terms of those 2 service stations. We want the operation to be started. We are seeking more properties across the island in strategic locations to have other service stations being set up. We are seeking properties are we seeking to increase our inventory on LPG cylinders? I wouldn't say we're seeking properties to increase the LPG network as yet in terms of filling stations, but we'll increase our network in terms of distribution centers for the LPG. Less costly, far less costly, less regulations, and we can be as effective and we can be very competitive by doing so. Now, so in moving forward, we intend to grow the business by increase revenue, increase profits, and if needs be, we can look at an APO or whichever other avenue we need to look at to increase, prudent avenue to look at what will cost the company and put the company in any great debt, or any debt, unnecessary debt that we don't need to be in.
Yeah. 2 things you mentioned that we need to follow up on. One is the magic word that a lot of our viewers want to know about, and that's dividends. The water wanted to know, what's your dividends policy for prospective shareholders? You did say you will be paying 30%. Dividends. At what rate?
30%. It will be. It's up to 30%.
Up to 30%.
Yeah.
Subject to the need to reinvest in the company.
Right, but we still, even with the need to reinvest in the company, we still want our shareholders to be happy. And I'm not just saying this, but as I said, I'm very patriotic. I want the Jamaican people to benefit, and I'm very serious about it. I want the Jamaican people to benefit from Regency. It's a Jamaican company, and we want to reinvest in Jamaica. And this is a serious business now. We're going to reinvest in Jamaica. Whatever we want our people to benefit primarily. The only person to benefit, and that's why we welcome other Jamaican companies to do what we are doing. I mean, take a brave step and step up, and we welcome the competition, because the only person that will benefit from the competition are the primary persons individuals that benefits from the competition would have been the consumers, which are the Jamaican people. So yes, I'm very keen on ensuring that dividends will be paid. However, whatever the rate will be at the time, it depends on what stage we are. But yes, dividends will be paid, and we'll also reinvest into the company.
All right. Yeah. Another thing that you mentioned earlier was debt, and that's something that we do need to come to, because a large chunk of the IPO proceeds will be used to retire some of your debt. Kay has a question, says, I've been looking at the prospectus and noticed the following: 58 million debt and 1.9 million cash flow. I need a little clarity here.
Okay, the debt that we take on, let me explain to you. We want, it is our intention that when we will come to the IPO, we want to come to the IPO, and at the end of the first quarter post IPO, we want to be running. Now, we took on this debt based on the nature of our operations and our expansion. Now, in constructing service stations, it's primarily prefabricated, meaning these products are customized and they have to be made to order, and they are not made locally, they are made overseas. Now, so we had to take on this debt in order to procure these equipment. Now, you're talking about equipment for 2 service stations. We didn't want to wait until we receive the IPO funds before we go ahead now to start procuring these equipment, which will in turn set us back an additional probably 3, 4, 5 months, because it takes approximately 3 to probably 5, probably in some cases now with the war and with whatever is happening globally, with the shortage of containers, the shortage of the shipment challenges that they're having, it can be stretched up to probably like 6 months before we can get a delivery into the country with these equipment. Now, so we foresee all of this, and we said, all right, we will go ahead and take on some debt to procure this equipment. So we can be a few months ahead of the IPO. When we come to IPO, we'll be a few months in. We have started construction in what needs to be constructed, which is basically the convenience store. We didn't buy that. We're going to construct those. So both convenience stores are under construction currently. I would say Paradise is at about 65-70% complete, and Negril is more like 85-90% complete for the convenience store. Now, in regards to the equipment now for the service station, we are about 2 months or 3 months ahead. So coming into the IPO, post IPO, I would say we're going to start in January, as opposed if we had waited and not take on this debt or take on these loans, that would set us back for the opening the service station at Paradise probably April, May, as much as probably even June. Now all these investors or these shareholders coming on board, they would say, boy, we're not seeing much significant change in the revenue after 4 or 5 months. I don't know what's happening, but I'm sure. So we with all this in consideration, we took on the debt and to ensure as much as we can ensure that at the end of the first quarter post IPO up to March quarter, we will see that jump in revenue. So that's the primary reason why we took on this debt, and that's why we don't even want to answer that question of 500 million. I mean, we just want to take on what we need. There's no need for us to take on debt or come out for more than what we actually need. When we reach to that bridge, we cost it. When we want to expand further now on the LPG or or we find property for another service station, then you hear us come back to the market, or we do what we need to do to do another construction again to increase revenue and profits for the company, you know.
Right.
All right.
I hope I answered the question with that.
Just highlighting a section of the prospectus here that speaks to the use of the proceeds. So 160 million will be used to retire that debt, and then you have 75 million to finish Paradise Pen, and you're also going to be using some to purchase additional cylinders, which you mentioned are very expensive. So let's come back to the viewers now, because there's just so many questions. Let me see, which one should I take? There's so many of them. All right, let me just take the first one. Let's see what we have here. Lushand says, with your property at Westmoreland, you are a leaseholder. Is there any future beyond that 5-year lease agreement?
All right. There are 2 properties in Westmoreland. One will be owned by Regency. That's the Paradise Pen. It's Regency owned. For Negril, that's going to be leased owned. I don't recall. It's seeing a 5-year lease though. Is it? I'm aware it's more as a 10-year lease.
It's
For
10
Paradise,
years.
for Negril.
Okay, 10
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
All right. Next question. Are you looking to step out of the west side of Jamaica with the automotive fuel side?
Definitely, which I stated earlier. We're currently seeking properties in strategic locations to open. We want Jamaica to be known as a Regency country. When you talk about service stations, you're talking about Regency Petroleum.
Do you also compete on price on that side of the business?
Definitely.
So how much? What's the mix of your business now, from cooking gas to automotive fuel?
I would say 70-30. So 70% of it now is made up of automotive fuel. 30% is made up of LPG.
That's the bigger part.
Yeah, it's a bigger part, but that's how it is now. Reason being capital expenditure again for the LPG, but we'll gradually grow the LPG. In some instances, we'll tackle the LPG region by region. So I would say in another 3 to 5 years, it probably at a 50-50. And probably 10 years from now, it's probably going to be 50-50 still, or probably 60-40, because I'm still keen on the LPG. For the company's existence, and I didn't really want to touch on this point really, but I mean, I don't know. Person's probably asking what's the longevity, what's the life with these electric cars coming in and all of that. I know for LPG that it has a lot of room for growth. The world is more moving towards LPG more than moving away from LPG. So yes, we acknowledge that, and we definitely plan to expand on the LPG side. So currently it's 70-30. It will be 50. It should be 50-50 in another 5 years. And I'm being conservative. I'm really hoping that in another 3 years we are 50-50 with the LPG. The margins are huger. The shareholders will see huger profits from the company and a lot more dividends from the company.
You mentioned electric cars, and Kish was asking a question about that. Would the petrol station consider having electric charging stations?
Yeah, most definitely. It would definitely have such charging stations. Currently, the market is made up. I'm not sure if it is even 1% of the market is made up of electric cars, but we'll have the facility. We'll definitely have the facility at our service stations for charging cars.
All right, next question. Actually, I want to bring in Douglas here again, because Douglas, I know we kind of have you sitting on the sidelines and we have Andrew doing most of the talking, but we also need to get to how people can apply for this offer. We had a question from Carrie Ann, who just basically wanted to know that. How do I get my offer in?
Sure. So if you want to apply, you can do it via a few options. You can come to us at GK Capital, 58 Hope Road. What you could also do is to apply through one of our selling agents, VM Wealth through their IPO Edge system, as well as JMMB through their Moneyline system. And, you know, it's We all think this is a great investment. I'm not jealous at all for Andrew taking so much time to walk you through his business, because, to be honest, you're not investing in us, you're investing with us and through us. But you're investing in Andrew and the team, and that's really what's important here.
Okay, so you heard the selling agents. The next question came from Dominion, who is in the UK, who wants to know how he or she can invest from the UK.
I would say talk to your broker if that's possible. This is definitely an offer in Jamaica, but talk to your broker and see if there is an option for that.
Okay. I'm only going to take a couple more because we're like right about 9 o'clock now. So LeVar again wanted to know if you accept trade in cylinders from other suppliers, and also how do you combat the loss if a customer decides to switch from Regency to someone else?
Okay. I currently, I'm glad you asked that question. Currently, we are in the process. As I said previously, we only had a few marketing companies in Jamaica, the established ones. It's of my understanding that there was a MOU amongst those three. Now, since the other two came in, myself and another company, I think there's another third one that is recent with us. We're currently in the process of developing an exchange program amongst ourselves. So that's a work in progress now. I'm a part of the committee, so we should have something conclusive passed by the cabinet. I'm hoping for the beginning of next year, but that's a work in progress. So currently, we supply dealers and distributors. Majority of these dealers and distributors supply all products on the market, all 4, 5, 6, whatever amount of products. I don't think it's more than 6. Now, what you find is that the dealers that you buy from, so the person you would call to supply your 25 pound, your 100 pound, your 30 pound cylinder, they would usually have one of each of the product. If we are in your region, currently so if you're talking about Westmoreland, Hannibal, St. James, and you happen to go to a dealer that sells a Regency product, yes, he can do an exchange for you because he sells all 3 or 4 products. So if you, for argument's sake, you have a competitor cylinder and you want a Regency, you go to the dealer and you say to him, boy, I want a Regency cylinder. He would be the one to determine whether he'll be able to supply you one based on the supply of cylinders he would have for Regency. Currently, we have a database based on our volume of cylinders we have on the market. We have to keep a database in place so we can basically track our cylinders and know where they are. So we keep this database with the dealers, distributors, and then with them, and then they in turn will keep it with you, the final consumer. So to answer your question, it's best to liaise with your distributor or your dealer that you purchase from. He will be able to advise you if he's a Regency dealer or distributor, or if Regency supply in his area or his location. If he doesn't have a Regency, it's very unfortunate.
All right.
Last
question from Tane, and Tane says, I live in Negril. Where in Negril will the station be located? Negril is quite saturated.
Okay, all right. I'm going to answer that in 2 ways. Firstly, the station is located approaching the Negril town center, or Negril. There's a welcome to Negril sign coming from Savlamar, and it's right at the welcome to Negril sign. So entering Negril, it will be the first service station. Now, and leaving Negril will be the last service station. So it's right approaching Negril on the main road, right on the main. Now, in terms of saturation now, I was speaking to someone earlier today, and I was explaining to them that there's room, believe it or not. If you look at the amount of motor vehicles in Jamaica now, as opposed to say 10 years ago, or even 12 years ago, or even 5 years ago, it's a significant change in the amount, in the quantity of motor vehicles on the road. Now, I've traveled overseas, and when I'm going to compare apples with apples now, when I look at a community equal to say Negril then, in the States, for argument's sake, If when I look at a community similar to Negril in the States, and I drive on a main street, so let me make it simple. For Hope Road, then you drive on a main street like Hope Road in the States, somewhere equal, where you have the similar amount of motor vehicles, the similar population, or similar amount of people, densely populated. I'll see where you have 4, 5, 6 service stations on that one road, or probably even 8 service stations on that one road, and all of them surviving, and it's all because of the amount of motor vehicles that are around. So I would say for Negril, no, it's not saturated. We have high requests for the service station around there. It's in high demand, primarily because of our pricing strategy and our service that we offer. So we have a number of persons in anticipation of the service station in Negril and in Paradise. And elsewhere also, for the LPG and for the service stations too. Our parishes, North Coast, eastern side, up to Portland.
So Regency is coming. Regency is coming, everybody. I know I said last question, but this is a good one, and I want to take it. And it comes from Adrian, who said, I love your enthusiasm in regards to paying dividends, but at your current creeping stage as a prospective shareholder, it would be best to reinvest your profits in expanding the business. I want you to respond to that.
Let me respond firstly by saying that remember now we're going to be on the junior market, so we'll have that incentive or that opportunity of being tax-free for the next 5 years. Now, when you're talking about the revenues that we are expecting, the profits that we are expecting, it also would incur huge, significant levels of taxes that would have been paid if we weren't on the junior market. Now we're going to retain this revenue, this profit. We're going to retain this profit. So that retention of that profit, along with profits earned and not paid over for taxes, compounded together, I would say we could comfortably pay dividend and still reinvest into the company. Remember now, we didn't come to the market for 500 million. We didn't come for 400 million. We came to the market for what we deem necessary at this point in time. It didn't make sense for us to come to 500 million. What we're going to do with it? We don't have 3 more approvals for 3 more gas stations. The only thing we could probably have done is probably purchase some more cylinders. Now, with the risk involved with the cylinders, you don't want to go ahead and just purchase a lump sum of cylinders and we don't have the control systems in place. We need to gradually grow the cylinder market. So we strategically chose locations to do so. So yes, I am confident that we can pay a dividend and still retain profits for expansion. Because as I said, we're going to retain these profits, have them in a bank account, and we seeking property to do expansion. We don't have the property as yet. We don't have approvals as yet. So we can go ahead and pay a little dividend from the profits, and we're still going. We continue growing the business. We're still going. We're still working. We're still growing for another year until we reach a point. It might be a point in time where we pay a 25% dividend, and another time we probably pay 5% based on where we are with our approvals and our expansion plans.
Right.
So, yeah.
All right. So just to wrap up, Douglas, remind us how we can apply. So through GK Capital, JMMB.
Through GK Capital, through JMMB, and through VM Wealth.
All right, those are the selling agents right now. And guys, if you haven't read the prospectus, if you're on my newsletter, if you're subscribed, you would have gotten the prospectus like the day it came out. It's like within an hour of it coming out, you would have gotten that in the newsletter. But if you're not on the newsletter, then make sure you subscribe. KalilaReynolds.com/newsletter. You get all the IPO alerts. You get everything as soon as it comes out. And if you still haven't read that prospectus and you're interested in Regency Petroleum's IPO, then is the link in the description, producer? We need to put the link in the description. If it's not there yet, we're going to add it right now so that you can just click the link and go directly to the prospectus and read up some more on this company. You know how to apply, you know what to do. And of course, nothing in this interview was intended as investment advice. Do what's right for you. Consult with your licensed financial advisor. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Douglas. Thank you to everyone who you guys tuned in this evening. That's it for this show. I'm Kalila Reynolds. Make sure to follow at Regency_Petroleum_Limited on Instagram. They're also on Facebook at Regency Petroleum. And of course, you can follow GK Capital on Instagram. It's actually GK Capital JA on Instagram. And like I said, they've been coming with the IPOs this year, especially the junior market ones. And visit my website, KalilaReynolds.com, for a summary of this video. Subscribe to my newsletter. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, you got to do that, right? Let's say it together. Let's get this money. See you tomorrow for Taking Stock.
Petroleum distribution company Regency Petroleum is seeking to raise $287 million through an initial public offer. If the offer is successful, RPL will apply to be listed on the junior market of the Jamaica Stock Exchange. The company is offering just over 287 million shares for sale. 115 million of those are available to the public. The remaining 172 million are reserved for company applicants and key partners. All shares are going for $1 each, and the smallest quantity you can buy is 1,000. After the initial purchase of 1,000 shares, you'll have to buy them in increments of 100. That means you can participate in this offer for as little as 1,000 Jamaican dollars plus fees. That's less than $7 US. The offer is set to open on Thursday, November 24, 2022, and is scheduled to close on December 8, 2022, but it could close early. GK Capital Management is the lead broker for the deal, and JMMB and VM Wealth Management